everybody. We are getting started in just a bit. Want to give everyone an opportunity to jump in the room. Just a few minutes. I hope you are having a good day, good week, good weekend. Whenever you are watching this, I hope it's good. At least I know it's good over here. We've been having a good time with Business Boost. Mm-hmm. So hi, how are you? How are you? I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're having a good time. I know we are. I love working with my women. I love working with anyone really that is all about, you know, asset protection and growth and family enterprises, all of that. So we've been doing a Business Boost series. Starting in August, we did a 4-day intensive. And then in September, we launched the next 90. Like, what are you going to do in the next 90, or really the final 90 days of the year? And so now, this is the mini boost. This is the mini boost. If you're here, then you probably think you need a mini boost. And don't we all? We all do. So I'm going to jump right on in because there's a lot of content that I need to cover because this is a mini boost. It's not the 4-day intensive and it's not the 90-day challenge. It's just an hour. So let's see what we can get done in an hour. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Business Boost. And it's just a mini boost. It's not a full-on growth intensive, but you can make it that way for you. You can make it exactly that. So today we're going to be talking about the 3 essential tools that you need to end this year right. And when I say end this year right, I'm talking about with a smile on your face, feeling accomplished, and like you've made it to the exhale moment. And that's what I'm always talking about. If you hang out with me long enough, you'll know I'm always talking about the exhale. So here's the mini boost. If you know right now that you want to jump in on the mini boost, text I'm in to 646-859-3915. You can also go to what'similaw.com/famfave and learn about all the goodies there. But if you know right now, in this moment, that you want to get in on Business Boost or the Mini Boost, 646-859-3915, just pop a text over and that comes directly to me. Okay, so today, Business Boost. We're talking about the 3 essential tools to boost your business so that you can exhale with ease and joy, right? This is your blueprint in order to do that. And I guess I should give you a little welcome. Welcome. My name is Zen, and I want to welcome you to Zen and the Dream Lawyers team. We bring decades of business consulting and legal experience to the table, and at this table, you will find superior service. It's comfort food. Before you realize it, you will experience the exhale. You're taken care of. It really can be that easy. Exhale. And so what do you mean by exhale? Why are you always talking about this? Exhale. The Excel is exactly this. We make it easy to focus on your passions and not be up half the night with a legal dictionary. We make it easy to be confident, right? To be and feel confident in regulatory compliance. We make it easy to review legal documents because we do it for you and with you. We make it easy to translate your real world dreams into a customized business strategy. That's easy, right? That's what we do here. We make it easy for you to relax, knowing that your intellectual property portfolio is protected, monetized, and growing. So, what is your divine assignment? That's the question I want to ask you. In order to get to that Excel, in order for us to help you get to that Excel, you got to know what your divine assignment is. We want to support you so that it is easy to relax and allow and effortlessly life the fullness of your dreams. Life the fullness of your dreams. Sometimes we think of life as a noun, but over here we think of life as a verb. You want a life the fullness of your dream. And so who am I? Okay, so I told you a little bit about Dream Lawyers, a little bit, but I'm an attorney, intellectual property, business strategist, and my goal is to bring the Zen quite literally into the heart of your business life. And so the Dream Lawyers, that's something that I created, focusing on creation, protection, and growth of assets for women entrepreneurs and family wealth and legacy enterprises. So when we started our Business Boost intensive, there were 4 days, right? 4 days. So if you missed that intensive, I'm glad you're here now because I'm going to walk you through what those 4 days were like. And so what I want you to do is take notes and start thinking about the fact that maybe you missed the intensive or maybe you know, you were at the intensive and you're like, I need a re-up, right? So we're going to walk through those 4 days. If you did not attend, I still want you to take the 4 days. Take 4 days to walk through this process. It's necessary, right? So in day one, we talked about cast your vision. We want to get to know the heart of your business. You got to be able to articulate the heart of your business. And when we say the heart of your business, we're talking about the impact that you want felt in ripples throughout the world. How do you want to feel in your business? So you were talking about the impact you want to make, and then you're talking about how you want to feel, and then how you would like your business to make others feel. I need y'all to please walk through this process. Take your time, just do it. It seems simple or maybe a little bit nuanced, but it's important for you to do it. But because by the time you get to day 4, it'll all make sense. You're going to ask yourself, how did your business change your life? And sometimes women are like, how did my business change my life? I created my business. I want to change the lives of others. No. In order to affect or have any kind of impact in this world, the thing you're bringing to the world had to have changed you in some way. So take some time if you need to and really think about how did your business change your life? If you want to jot things down right now while we're going through this presentation, it's quite all right. Whatever comes up for you intuitively, this is a good time to just write it down. Here, we talk a lot about intuitive writing, because that's where your mind is uniting with the divine mind, and it's going to help you get the answers. So let me put that on the table right now. You're going to walk through this journey with me today, right now, and there's going to be a lot of writing that you should do, um, or at least make note to yourself that you're going to do it after, right? Intuitive writing is so important. Your little mind uniting with the big mind, all flowing through down on the paper for you. If you are not a writer, not everyone likes to write, pick up a recording device, your phone, I don't care what it is, get it out, right? Answer these questions. It's important. It's important. It's going to get to the heart of your business and help you be able to get the boost you need. I always say this program is guaranteed to give you a boost. I can't guarantee it if you don't do exactly what I'm trying to share with you right now. Intuitive writing. If you don't know the answer, intuitive writing. What is that? Maybe I should explain that a little bit. It's when you don't think too much. Put your personality to the and ego to the side, and you say, just use me. Ask a question. Don't even think about what you're writing. Just write. You're going to come back later or in that same moment, and it'll blow your mind. If you haven't done it before, it'll blow your mind. For those of you that have been working with me or just been doing intuitive writing on your own already, you know exactly what I'm saying. Tell your neighbor, jump in the chat, share what your experience has been like in terms of your intuitive writing and that process. So if it's new to you, it's going to amaze you, the clarity you're going to get when you do the intuitive writing. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get back to our questions. So the first question was, how did your business change your life? And then the next question is, what's scariest for you? Intellectual property, business strategy, or estate planning? Some of you are like, none of that scares me. Great. Still, what is if I were to be scared by any of these, what is the scariest one? Write it down. Write it down. All right. And then after you do that, I want you to give yourself an intuitive check-in. Take a deep breath and give yourself an intuitive check-in. Answer these questions honestly. You don't have to share with me or anybody else, but you got to write it out. You got to be honest with yourself. If you cannot vet yourself, you can't vet your business, you can't vet your team, you can't even vet a VA to assist you, right? So this question here, my business slash personal assets are fully insulated. Why am I saying slash? Because I know the women in this community, my clients, my reflection, business and personal, they rub up against each other so closely sometimes. So you need to consider it all when you're talking about insulating your assets. So go ahead and write. You agree, you disagree, you seldom agree, like sometimes maybe one or the other. Answer that for yourself. Next, my business strategy is serving me well. Ooh, I love this question. So do you agree? You disagree? Seldom. And then there's a white space on the side where you can write notes. So in the Business Boost blueprint, you could write. There is a box, as you see on the screen, there's a box within the blueprint for you to write. But for right now, we're just going through the steps. Next, brand identity. Okay, I'm trying not to move too quickly through this. But when you define your brand identity, you're simply asking yourself, why did I begin this journey? What essence am I sharing with the world? So how would you describe the expression of your gift through your aesthetic and style? Now, if you're already part of Business Boost and you have the blueprint, there's several pages for you to write this out because you want to talk about how. How is your unique vibe, your unique expression, right? How would you describe it? What are the colors? Is there a song, a little jingle in your head? Do you have a particular trademark? What's your trade dress like? All of those things. What are you known for? That's your aesthetic for your business. Start thinking about that. Okay, as you walk through this blueprint, I'm telling you, just trust me. Just trust me. We're going to take this step by step. I want you to walk through and start thinking about my brand. What is the aesthetic? I was talking with a woman doing a one-on-one. I think it was Friday. And I said, "What's your aesthetic?" And she's like, "I don't know. What do you mean?" I'm like, "Do you have any special colors?" Well, yeah, kind of, not really. Okay, let's start talking about that. Do you have a logo? What are you known for? She didn't have a logo. She wasn't committed to colors. So then I just said, what are you known for? When people think of you, what do they think? What do they feel like? Oh, that I'm open, that I'm welcoming, and I get my clients by referral because people are so impressed with the time, the attention, and energy that provide my services. That's what they always tell me. Okay, that's your brand aesthetic. Let's start fleshing that out. So you may be like her or like another client that I'm working with, Anna. Her brand is fully fleshed out. Her website, her colors, everything's there. The only difference with Anna, she has her real world aesthetics together, but legally her aesthetics are not together. And of course, I'm not using her real name. I'm not using her real name, but I'm just to give her a name for this, for the purpose of teaching this point. So she has several trademarks. Some of the logos have graphics with them. She has her colors that she's been consistently using for the past, I think, 15 years. I set her websites together. Everything's perfect in terms of her aesthetic, but none of it's protected. You know what that means for Anna? That means that somebody can duplicate her business, right? I never want you to feel like your business can be duplicated, because your business is a representation of your heart space. So it's not like it can be duplicated, but it can sure look like it online. It can sure look like it. Listen, I would say, what was it, 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago? People were going online. This was during the when they were giving out those PPP loans. People were going online and duplicating the SBA website, the IRS website. All these government websites were being duplicated. Okay? So don't think you're too big and bad, no matter how long you've been doing business, to feel like your business can't be cloned. That's what it is. It can't be duplicated because it's your heart, but it can be cloned. Okay. So think about that in terms of aesthetic and your brand identity. These questions are going to help you. The purpose of these questions is to just stir up inside of you facts, data points, and you can put them all down here as you walk through this blueprint with me, right? So think about, how do you express your gift through your aesthetic? If you are like Lily, who I'll call her Lily, who I was talking with on Friday, um, maybe you have strong relationships with your clients and you haven't fully um, vetted out your trade dress, is what it's called. I don't want to get into the legalese of it, but maybe your trade dress hasn't been fixed, but you have an expression and a style, and people are in love with you. Why? Right? So if you are on the level of Anna, and you've already done this, you've already thought about it and you've built it out and you have a website or you have a brand presence and it's pretty solid and you haven't swayed too much from it over the past few years, that's like Anna. So whether you're like her or if you're like Lily, who has clients, but she hasn't committed to trade dress, but her expression is still trusting and caring, um, open, so that even though she doesn't have a strong web presence, for example, or any web presence, she's still making an impact in the world. Think about that for yourself, whether you fall in the category of Lily or Anna, either way. Start thinking about how you are expressing your gift through your aesthetic and style. Then turn to inspirations, right? So we have inspirations, little sparks of inspirations that keep us going, that get us started, right? So what are the books that resonate with you most? Just off the top of your head, not something you want to read, you intend to get around to, but a book you've read. I don't care if it's the Bhagavad Gita, write it down. What are the books that resonate with me most? Then you want to ask yourself, what are the people and businesses that resonate with me most? Why? Because as you write this down, and we're going to circle back to it, but as you write down the people and the businesses that resonate with you, you're going to kind of start seeing who your tribe is. Now, if you are like Anna and you already know who your tribe is, do this anyway, because this is going to help you move to the next level in scaling your business. What are the colors that resonate with me? Again, if you are like Anna and you are committed to your colors already, still think about what colors resonate with me. Why? For a couple of reasons. You might want to add an accent color to your brand that you didn't have before, right? That's one thing. Two, you might want to use a particular color for a certain time of year in a particular in a promotion, right? There are so many amazing holidays and holy days throughout the year. and you come up with some colors in this section that resonate with you, you can use them throughout the year. Or if you're like Lily and you haven't committed to brand colors, this is especially important for you. Write it down. What colors resonate with me most? Right? Okay. So after you've done that, where you've looked at, because day one is about casting your vision. What is your vision? Right? So in order to fine tune that, we have to look at the brand identity and the brand expression, your business, the soul of your business, right? So then we get into day two, where you get the blueprint. So here's the blueprint, right? There's no point in going to day two going into the second section of this. And I'm moving fairly quickly. I don't want y'all to move quickly. I really want you to take a day, at least half a day, to mull over these things. Be thinking about what is my impact in the world? Who am I affecting? Who do I want to reach? Who do I want to touch? As you go through the questions for day one, those answers are going to be there for you, right? So take a full day, or if you do this over the weekend, take half a day. So take, Sunday morning and take a break, and then Sunday afternoon. But I need you to take the time to really absorb this. And it may feel like these are simple questions, right? So if you take a day to let it sink in and then journal it out. I should have said from the beginning, have a journal, journal it out. If you are not a writer, a recording device, just get it out, all of it. This is how you're casting your vision. Now, once your vision is casted, once you've casted your vision, you know your brand colors, you understand your aesthetic, um, you colors, aesthetic, you know the people that you resonate with, you know the books you've read that have inspired you. Shoot, songs that get you going. That's your day one. Be journaling about all this. I need you to put aside your masculine mind, which is very structured and very linear. Put that aside and just allow this to flow like flowers in a wild field of flowers. Let those thoughts just spring up. Record them however you need to record them. Okay? So once you've done that, then we go into day two or the second section. Now, are there any questions? Let me check the chat. Any questions about what we've covered so far for Cast Your Vision? What if you already have a business plan? Can you use your executive summary? Um, yes and no. I want you to do this first to cast your vision, then go look at your executive summary. You're going to tweak stuff. I promise you. I promise you. 9 times out of 10, clients that see me, they come with their business plan and it's very well put together, but it didn't go to the heart. You weren't writing as a flower or butterfly, you know, moving through the field of lavender, right? I need you in that headspace for day one. That's why I'm saying take a whole day. Take a whole day. Each question could take you an hour, or you might just pop through the questions, just sit back and think and go over them again. I need you fully engaged in your divine feminine. You have to be, because that's the creative space. We're going to get to the masculine. We have to, because no business is strong enough to put out into the world what you want to put out, to for you to fully embody it without the masculine structure. But in day one, we're only talking about the feminine side. What are the desires of your heart? What's coming up in your soul? Right? So those are the things I want you to so yes, and then after you do that, go look at your executive summary and see if it's actually reflecting and take it as an opportunity to level it up a bit. There's always space to make something better. And anytime you're pouring your heart, your spirit, your divine feminine into something, that's naturally going to level it up. Okay. All right. So now we are going to our second section. Now that we've casted our vision, we're going to get the blueprint. Okay. So this is what I'm telling you about assets. So we're looking at your assets, targeted versus actual. So we all know what that means. Targeted, what assets do you actually have? Now we're moving into that very clear linear brain. Okay. That's why you want to cast your vision, section one, a full day. Because when you get over here to assets, how that's structured, how you're moving, being strategic, it can kind of feel disconcerting if you try to do these two sections in the same day. So give the divine feminine all she needs for day one. Give her 2 days if she wants. And then move on to the second section, which is about listing your assets. List your assets. Write them down. Get clear. What are your assets? Sometimes we don't even understand what assets are. And I want you to write down your personal and your business assets. Targeted versus your actual assets, right? This is an opportunity for you to vet yourself. That's what we're about to go into. If you don't understand your assets, some people think of assets solely as real estate or jewelry or their car or things like that. But your assets also include your intellectual property. They also include your leadership skills and your vision, your ability to execute management and operations, fundraising, if that's what you're doing, financial management, community engagement, or that community engagement and communication, that's going back to your brand presence, compliance and governance. Like, what's up with your legal stuff? Is your operating agreement funky? Or do you need to tweak that? Board relations, if you have a board, or do you need to develop a board? Do you need an advisory board? And people always pause, like, I have an LLC, I don't need a board. You may not need a board in the traditional sense, but we all need advisors. Got to be thinking about a board of advisors, right? You have to, because you don't have all those things. So when we talk about running a business or shoot, running our life, these are the skills here that you need. You're not going to be proficient in every single thing. Now, shoot, maybe you are. I'm not proficient in every single thing. And so you need your board of advisors. Take a deep breath. And honestly vet yourself for these things. What is your leadership and vision like? How are you with management? How are you with finances? How are you in communication? What's your legal stuff like? How do you have a board of advisors? Do you want one? And if you do, how do you choose one? Those are the things you want to think about carefully when we talk about business boosts. In order to boost your business, you want to vet yourself. So this is where you will be writing down assets. So I wanted to put these skills here, because I want you to be thinking about those as assets. Don't only think about real estate and jewelry. When you're vetting yourself, when you're vetting your assets, look at the whole woman, not just what's considered an asset from a more conservative structure, business structure. So these are the top three, cash, real estate, and valuable personal and business property. These are the top three. So in doing this, now that you vetted yourself, from a holistic place, now you're going to move on to vetting your assets, your targeted assets versus your actual assets. Write them down. Cash, well, we know what that is. Real estate, we know what that is. I fleshed out valuable personal business property because I want you to start thinking about these things. A lot of times when I have women sit down with me and just fill this out. What are your target? What is your actual? And they often leave some of these things out. They don't really look at jewelry. And I'm like, you have no heirloom jewelry. You have nothing that's been passed down from your grandmother, your great grandmother, your mother. You have nothing. The answer may be, no, I don't have anything. Or the answer may be, oh, I didn't think about that. Or the answer may be, actually, I don't, but I just purchased an amazing piece, right? So jewelry, I have that at the top. I am right now wearing, I gotta show y'all these. So I have these um rose quartz that was gifted to me um when someone was traveling in Morocco. And then I have these. These are pearls gifted to me, heirloom piece. Very old and just beautiful. You can't really see them, but there's pearl and there's a little tiny diamond there, accented and it's wrapped in gold. Very antique. So be thinking about that. And even if, like I said, you don't have that, I'm sure. I'm sure, knowing this group, I'm sure you have it. Even if it wasn't passed down to you, I'm sure you have it. Make sure you write it down. Now, let's get to the less fun stuff. I'm just excited because on when did we last do? We did this on Saturday and I could not find the backs for these earrings and I was complaining. Like, I had to wear some other piece, but I was complaining. So I'm happy today that I get to wear these. Okay, after jewelry, equipment. So think about what equipment your business has. Okay, intellectual property. We're going to spend some time on that, of course. I am an IP attorney. Stocks and investments, cash and bank accounts, businesses. Yes, your business itself is an asset. Why? You came up with an idea and you found a way to monetize it. That's proprietary information. Vehicles, boats, cars, motorcycles, planes, life insurance policies, retirement accounts, annuities, death benefits, all of those. So think about everything and then go to the chart on the right and write down target it or what you want, right? Versus what you actually have. Write that down. And I'm pausing a little bit um, just to give you a chance to write some of this down. Now, the next section, because this is the blueprint. What was the first thing we said? Let me go back. Mindful asset insulation. Sorry. That's day two. Get the blueprint. Targeted versus targeted. List your assets. So we're talking about mindful asset insulation. Now we're going to business strategy. I told y'all it was three goals to end this year right. One, is asset insulation. Next is business strategy, targeted versus actual, right? So list your top three fully executed business strategies, and then list your top three strategies targeted for execution this year. I need you to share with yourself or with the group, whatever. Just make sure you get it out of yourself. Write it down, record it, however express it out into the world. I need you to list your top three fully executed business strategies. Why? Because we're getting down, to the end of where are we? We're at the beginning of the quarter. We're getting down to the end of the year. And I need you to galvanize your energy to finish this year right. How are you going to finish the year right? Oh, I'm going to work down my list. No, you're going to think about what you did right already. Think about what you fully executed already. That's going to raise your energy in order for you to push through to get, you know, to get it done. So, what we don't realize sometimes with our 1,000 item to-do list is that even if we had 100 things on the to-do list and we completed 98, our brain is still going to be complaining about the two that didn't get done. So you need to think about the 98 that you've completed this year. And some things will be things that you'd initially have on your list, but you accomplished it because you needed to pivot. Write that down. The top three things you accomplished this year. And then as you have a smile of satisfaction on your face, like, okay, I did that, I did that. Now go on to the next step, which is to write down the next three things that you know that you need to get done this quarter to put a smile on your face, to say, okay, I really did it. Think about your top three strategies targeted for execution this year. That's what this section is about. So, when it comes to business strategy, targeted versus actual, I want you to know the most common entity structures and then decide. As far as entity formation, you may have already formed your company and you're already in business and you like, your the form of your entity, or you may be a sole proprietor and not really have created an entity as yet. So pay attention here. So if you haven't created an entity yet, this is a good time to learn about that. If you've already created an entity, this is a good time to think, well, shoot, do I need to pivot a little bit? I know I'm married to this LLC, but shoot, maybe I need to move into a corporation. Or wait a second, I have this license now. I probably should transition to a PLLC. All of those things you want to consider for entity formation. The next thing you must consider is tax strategy, right? So I have listed here, the same forms of entity: sole proprietor, limited liability company, professional limited liability company, corporation, all of that. And each has its own tax ramifications. Start thinking about your tax strategy. So these are just two that I'm sitting here for you when it comes to three um, business strategies that have been executed. So maybe you already have your entity, right? So you can write that down you can put that on the right side, fully executed. If you are still on the fence, then you want to put that in the target section. Business strategy or tax strategy, I'm sorry. Tax strategy. Do you have a tax strategy? You better have a tax strategy. You cannot have a business without a tax strategy. Well, you can, but it'll be by default, right? So this is a second example of a strategy that you want to have executed this year. Your top three, but here's two that you might consider when you're writing it down. Did I really create a tax strategy that I can stand by and that matches the entity form that I chose? And then some of you, based on the conversations I've been having this week, some of you don't have either of these done, but you have other things that you've accomplished. So write them down. And then the third goal for this year, you don't have to do all three, but I'm giving the top three, is estate plan. Do you have an estate plan? Now, I tend to hear people saying, um, well, I have a will, so I got that taken care of. Ma'am, that is not an estate plan. That's not an estate plan. It's a will. That's what it is, right? And I'm not against wills. I always have to double down on the fact that I'm not against wills, but there are more creative ways to create an estate plan that um, can allow you to benefit today and not just something that becomes active after you pass away. I have to emphasize that. But if you have an estate plan, still take this opportunity to review it, tweak it. Maybe there's something that you want to expand on. You want to have that in place. So, these are the most common ones that we'll talk about today: the will and the trust. So, clearly, my preference is for a trust. You can listen, you can have a will and a trust. I'd rather if you are so committed to having a will, add a trust to it. I'm not telling you get rid of your will. Some people are so locked in on what they've traditionally done, but consider a trust. Just consider it, right? Just write about it. Things that you might need to add to your estate plan. So with the will, you still want to you want to look at your assets. You want to choose an administrator, a representative. You want to think about terms for distribution, right? So that when you have passed, the terms are laid out with what goes where and how, right? All of that's going to go into your will. The reason why I don't like wills is because the will still has to be probated. And that means write all the beautiful things you want about how your assets are going to be distributed. A court is still going to determine whether that will is valid. That's the piece I don't like. I don't like that. Forget the fact that a trust, you can benefit from your trust right now. Put that to the side. Just for me, thinking about the fact that I can spend all this time getting my will just right, and a court can still say, nah, that's not valid. Or, no, we don't want to do that. The court can still say that. So be careful with those wills, y'all. Be careful with them. All right. And so when it comes to a trust, I prefer the trust. The beautiful thing is, you're still going to list your assets, and your assets are still going to be distributed. You're still going to have an administrator or representative. You will still have to deal with the terms of distribution where you're saying how, when, and where the assets are distributed, but you don't have to go through a lengthy court process. Okay? You can leverage your assets today with a trust. So I want y'all to think about that, right? So what was the first thing? The first thing was to insulate your assets. So assets is woven through this entire presentation. Insulate your assets. The next thing you're going to do is look at your business strategy. And then the third thing here is estate plan. Make sure you have an estate plan. And when you talk about your estate plan, you're looking at having a will and or a trust. A trust or a trust and a will. Please, y'all, don't be out there with just a will alone. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's just, I mean, even right now in this moment, I have some people today. I give you an example. Today, a woman passed away in April, and she was the administrator of her husband's estate, right? And so she passed away. So she's dealing with his assets, and then not only his assets, her assets now, right? So now that she's passed away, her daughter or someone has to come forward to manage both estates. One estate is not even fully distributed. Why? They didn't have a trust. So this was in, I think, 2010. Where are we now? It's 2025. So for 15 years, they've been in probate court over a will. I see it every day. I see it every day. Please don't think a will is all you need. What they could have done, I won't say should, but what they could have done is move all the assets into a trust. Now, the trust as an entity is owning that out of their personal name and into a trust. No probate court involved, no surrogate court involved telling you how to move. This is why I'm telling you a trust is very important. And I see it every day, and it kind of breaks my heart because this lady, she passed, and so she has four children. And poor things, they don't know how they got to me is they were looking for somebody to help sell the assets, sell the property, because there are about five buildings and owned by their mother and father, previously owned by the mother and father. So they're ready to sell, get this money if that's what they want to do, or flip, or build, or do something with the asset. Can't do anything. Can't do anything. Not right now. And like I said, the father passed away 15 years ago. 15 years? At least 15 years ago. Yeah, 15 years ago. It's 2015. The mom just passed away this year, 2025. So it's going to be a long road to hoe, as my grandmother would say, for them, because now they're dealing with two estates, and neither of them have been fully resolved by the court. So what could have happened is when their father passed away, had his assets already been moved into a state, they and their mother could have been doing stuff to grow their businesses, to they want to renovate the properties, an apartment building, different things that they want to do now they can't do. They would have been able to do it while their father was still alive. Anyway. I digress. I'm not trying to scare y'all a little bit. But I want you to be thinking about that. Let me check the chat. Okay, people are asking, like, can you? Yes, you can have a will and a trust if that's advisable. I'm not saying if you have a will, it's irresponsible, but I'm saying once you know more, you know better, you got to do better. So why not move the assets out of your name into a trust and have a situation where your business can benefit from it? All kinds of strategies we can put together for you. Um, the father, he passed away. He did what he could in his business and in his family. But looking at what the assets are now, more could have been done if they weren't in his name. More could have been done then and now. So for you too, think about that. That's why I say you can leverage your assets now and not have your heirs or the public administrator, whoever fussing or fighting or waiting on a court to decide something, you can start moving on it right now. It's very important that we start thinking about these things and like I said, leverage it. Okay? Please, please. What if you have I'm reading questions now. Um, what if you have a joint will with your husband? I don't care. I don't care. All the more. Like, look at this woman's going through. She was going through hell, right? It's now she's gone. Now her children are gonna go through hell dealing with that, right? So I don't care if you have a joint will, you still want to trust. And if you don't think you need one, at least be open to exploring it because you could explore it and then decide, nah, I don't want that. But I'd rather your mind be open to look into it and try to learn about it before you make a decision out of ignorance, right? Okay, let me get back to my presentation. We have a lot I'm trying to move through. I have all these little scenarios that are popping in my head. I gotta stop sharing so much. Okay, so think about that. Then in day three, customize your blueprint. I hope that makes sense. So on day one, you're casting your vision, right? And day two, you are looking at the top three areas of your life and your business. You have to examine your assets, your business strategy, and your estate plan. And y'all got to stop thinking about estate plan meaning when I'm gone out of physical. Stop right now. Stop right now of thinking that. Okay. So those are the three things you want to be looking at in day two. And once you do that, take a breath. Don't jump into day three just because you finished and you're raring to go. I need you to just relax and wait a day because you're going to come back and review your notes. Take account of your wins, the actual ones, and your milestones ahead, the things you want to accomplish. This is personal. That's why it says customize your blueprint. I can give you the blueprint, and that I have. But you have to customize it. Customizing meaning out of the top three, pick something. Pick something that intuitively speaks to you that this is something that I have to get done, right? So as you're celebrating your wins, that's going to change the chemistry of your brain, really. Once that happens, you're kind of in a lighter space. That's a good time to consider next steps forward. So you're going to be able to make some notes here of intuitive guidance of what your next steps should be. Make notes right now of intuitive guidance with the intuitive guidance of what your next steps should be. Okay? If you need to write that down, I'm pausing to give you an opportunity to do that. What should your next steps be? Now, you're not going to know them right now because we're going through this too quickly. But I want you to know that in day three, it's about customizing your blueprint. So we're going to switch gears and go straight into uh, customizing the blueprint. Okay? Day three, section three. Okay. So in customizing your blueprint, I want you to make notes. If you are already a part of Business Boost, you have the blueprint. Go to this, what page is it? 14, I think, and write some notes. Okay, so let's see if we're gonna. Okay, so I'm not going too quickly. In customizing your blueprint, let's start with estate planning. If you have chosen estate planning to work on for these next for the remainder of the quarter, this is for you. Listen up, pay attention. And if you are committed to having a will, or you already have a will, still pay attention. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of a will of somebody that's maybe just like you, wanting to have that will. It's okay, right? So what do I want you to pay attention to? Personal property. It's on page 15 of the blueprint. Personal property. Be sure you list that. Be sure you choose a personal representative. That's what I want you to think about for in estate planning for a will, right? Next, your financial institutions, write them down. You need this in your will. Cash, write it down. You can write how much the cash you have on hand, but then you also want to write the institutions down. Really, Chase and Bank of America in this situation should have been listed in section C. Then disposition of property. Who gets what? And who is it that's getting the what, right? So in this instance, my daughter, right? That's the relationship. The second beneficiary, my granddaughter. The third beneficiary, my grandson, right? Make sure you have that in there. More importantly, or super important, is you want to put something in there that says, if this beneficiary predeceases me, what happens? Okay, so suppose this woman's daughter makes her transition before her. What happens? Make sure you list all that out. Why? Because you ain't going to be here, and a judge is going to be going through this document trying to see what's supposed to happen, right? Okay, what else should I point out? Discretionary powers. Let me zoom in on that part. Discretionary powers. So you're going to write here what your representative has a right to do and what they shouldn't be doing. So in this one, she gives wide discretionary powers to her daughter, right? You might want to do that, or you maybe want more specific to know you can't do all that. You can only do A, B, and C. Be sure you have all that listed here. Um, what else? And that's it. Those are the things I want you to pay most attention to, right? The discretionary powers, the what happens if someone is listed here predeceases me, and your personal representative as well as your personal property. So when we talk about personal property, go back to that page in your Business Boost blueprint, the page that you were writing out your assets. That's what you're going to plug in here for part three. Okay. Then the last page here, you're going to sign it And in many states, you have to have two witnesses. It's very state specific. Some of these clauses that has to go into the will to make it valid. We will work with you, regardless of your state. We can work with you to help you put this together. Those are the things I'm just pointing out things I need you to pay attention to. So whether you work with us or you choose another legal service provider, at least you already have it in your mind what you need to be looking at, right? Now, the next thing for customizing your estate, I want you to think about a trust. Yes, you know I love this. I love this. Now, although I gave you a sample will, I am not giving you a sample trust. A trust is highly individual and specific. I want you to consult a professional. Do not rely on templates for a trust. A will, you can kind of lean on the templates and play around with them a little bit. I would still say have a professional review it or even draft it for you when it comes to a will. But you can kind of look at the templates for guidance if nothing else. The trust, I do not share templates for a trust. I don't create them. They're drafted from scratch over here, right? But I'm gonna share with you some items to consider including in a trust. So remember, we talk about vet your assets, right? What are your assets? List all your assets. Same here. So Schedule A, you're going to have multiple schedules, but you want to know Schedule A is going to have your assets. So again, what is the trust property? So this person, they created a trust and they used Schedule A to list out the assets that they wanted to be transferred out of their name and into the trust. So she had $150,000 cash on hand. She has two real estate assets, a car, personal computer. She has some cash on hand maintained in these institutions, right? You want to list that so that we know where so that the trustee knows exactly what institutions they'll be dealing with. And then Schedule B, I love Schedule B. I mean, you can have as many schedules that you want. I'm giving you the top ones. Schedule B talks about trust beneficiaries. So remember in the will, who's going to get what? That's what this section is for. So you'll still be listing your beneficiaries, but pay attention to Schedule A. What are the assets? For every section, when we're talking about insulate your assets, whether we're talking about business strategy or we're talking about estate planning, you need to be clear on the assets. I'm pausing because I need to let that sink in. Okay. Um, and then Schedule C, excluded persons. So she didn't want Rundald Washington to have access to anything. She didn't want any person who's insolvent, right? So I recall that Kimberly, her granddaughter's on the list. But guess what? If Kimberly becomes insolvent, then she's not going to reap the benefits of all of these assets. However, any creditor of a beneficiary, so say Kimberly struggled and finally got good in her solvency, however, she has some creditors out there. This is going to protect Kimberly from her creditors eating up all the assets. Guess what? Wait, I'll circle back to that one. Anyone actively involved in substance addiction, okay? So that's kind of where Rondahl, his name is specifically listed here. And mind you, I changed the names out. Don't think that I'm talking about people. I'm not talking about people. Share people's business. I switched the name out. But he's listed here because he is active or did become active in substance addiction or substance abuse, right? So anyone, that means him, Kimberly, if she just decides to get started, any of that. So, but the beauty of this is bullet point 3, any creditor of a beneficiary. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? We have beneficiaries named here, right? Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Catherine Smithson. Ah, Catherine Smithson is the actual owner of all of these assets. So when we talked about the car, we talked about the money, we talked about the financial institutions, we talked about the actual cash on hand, right? They're owned by Catherine Smithson, and she's a beneficiary. Did you see the line that said any creditor of a beneficiary is excluded from touching these assets? Read between the lines. Read between the lines, y'all people that want to be in love with the will. Catherine is benefiting from this today. Okay? That could be you. I need you to think about that. Read between the lines. Um, and then customize your estate. Questions. So this is page 24 in the blueprint. I'm sure you're going to have questions. So even if you're not a part of Business Boost and you don't have the blueprint, still take this as an opportunity to write down any questions or comments you may have, and you can reach out to me at support@dream-lawyers.com. And you can also send over a text message, 646-859-3915. The point is, after you go through customize your estate, be having some questions, be having some comments, be having some dialogue with yourself, your family and friends, your business partner. Be talking about it, be writing about it. Don't just sit there inside your own head. Get it out so that it can do something to move you forward. All right, next. Customize your entity. Okay, so we're leaving estate plan to entity. You just customize your entity. In order to do this, I just put in some some questions that I always ask clients when I first sit down with them. So some of this is going to be simple and easy. We will pop through. What is your name, your company name, contact information? Okay, that's not so difficult. Business address, your company's mission. This is where you need to pause. What is your vision? What are you going to do? Remember I told you in day one, just walk through these things, walk through the field of flowers as you're casting your vision. Guess what? That's where you cut and paste it right here. What is your company's mission? What is your vision? Right? What is your personal perception of your company? How would you like your company to be perceived? Does this sound like the Vet Your Brand section of the of the blueprint? I'm sure it does. All that information now that we sourced from source, you're gonna funnel it here. What are your company's core strengths? What are your company's goals? All of these, you already have the information back when you were journaling or recording, however you got it out of you. Do you have a business plan? Yes or no? And remember, I don't care if you have a business plan or not. If you have one and you say yes, then you're still going to go back to cast your vision from day one and tweak it a little bit. There's something that came out of this process that's going to improve whatever you have, right? So make sure you do that. Now, if you are working with me and you get this questionnaire, we're going to ask you if you have it, you got to submit it. I want to review it. I'll review it with you, right? And what is your business? Are you a sole proprietor, general practitioner? What is it? LLC, corporation, S corp, write all that down, the county you're in. Now, these questions I'm gathering because I might need to help you get your operating agreement together. So what you'll find is all those questions from earlier are going to inform what you do next. And the questions here are going to inform me if we're working together or whoever you're working with to get your business compliance together, your regulatory compliance together. So, what are the full names and residential addresses of the members or officers of your company? Regulatory compliance. Will each of the above listed persons share equal share in the company? You know this information. And if not, how is it divided at percentage wise, right? So these are easy questions that by now should be flowing because we've already dealt with the hard, we've done the heavy lifting from day one, cast your vision, right? So do you have a registered agent? These are some questions here. So I like to do customize your JV because even though we're talking about your entity, some of y'all come over into my office saying, "Oh, I just met this amazing person." And I think we're gonna open a business together, or we're gonna merge businesses. I just love it. It's divine timing. The divine hand is all in this. And I'm not trying to be funny. That's how we talk over here. So we attract people that talk like that too. But for your protection, before you do that, if you just met someone and it feels great and the energy's good and you don't want to squash the energy by saying, well, I don't know you that well because we're just dating, right? You're just dating. Please don't jump into bed and get married with them and form a company right now. Continue dating. If she's amazing and she has all these gifts and you think your company can benefit and you see how you can benefit her company, great. I love you for it. We're not meant to do this stuff alone. I'm glad you found somebody, but please don't jump in bed and create a child with them, right? What I want you to do is consider. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm telling you things you should consider the JV, right? This is a joint venture and it gets you to do all the things you want to do anyway. You get to work together, you get to benefit each other's businesses, all the things. You get to do that without getting married and creating a baby. So these are questions that um, you want to be asking yourself, right? Because we're not going as deep as for an entity with this person or as deep as merging two entities together or becoming partners, but you still got to know some of this information. What are the financial contributions? What are they bringing to the table in terms of gifts, talent, strength, money, all of that? You still want to be thinking through this. What about intellectual property? Who's contributing what? We want to talk about if there's a disagreement that comes up, then what? If somebody decides to leave, then what? All of these questions, taxes, everything. So take your time and go through these questions, answer them. I am imploring you to take your time before you jump in bed with somebody to consider the JV. The JV lets you just keep dating. The JV is little more than dating. You know what the JV is like? The JV is like the promise ring. You know, when you didn't actually get engaged, but you got a promise ring, and you say we're gonna get engaged. You know, like when they're when the guy is trying to take you off the market. What a promise ring. Maybe he didn't have uh quite enough money to get you the engagement ring that you deserve and desire. A little promise ring. That's what your JV is. Okay, please. Please. A promise ring. That's what the JV is. Try it. It lets you try it out. But in trying it out, you're still going to want to have answers to all of this because you're vetting, right? You still want to have answers to all of this. Because if you can't answer these for a JV, a joint venture, then you definitely don't need to be in business with them formally. Right? Okay. So these are the things you're going to need to know. And if you have this blueprint, you know this is on page 36. If you do not have the blueprint because you're not a part of you didn't sign up for it, just pause. Pause this recording and write this stuff down because everybody will be getting the recording. And then customize it. Write any questions and comments you have. You must have questions and comments. Right? Now, we go into IP, one of my favorite things. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have any intellectual property. No person or entity is in business without intellectual property. You either have your own IP, you are licensing or using somebody else's IP, or you're still using IP that maybe you're not licensed in, but it's fallen to domain, or you're still in it, or yours is being stolen. No business exists without it. So I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, so start thinking about that. So the first form of intellectual property, if y'all need a little pause, I do. I like to start with copyright. So copyright in this um in your blueprint, if you're working on your IP, copyright is not a heavy lift in terms of documenting this stuff. The United States Copyright Office is not looking to vet you as intricately as the patent and trademark office. All you're going to be giving them is information about yourself. They just want to know who made it, what is it, and when was it created, basically, right? So just answer these questions. Because at the end of the day, if you decide you want to go ahead and first of all, I need to walk through this to decide if you have copyrightable material, right? Where if you have an e-course, if you wrote a book, if you are a singer-songwriter, if you have a movie, if you um if you are an architect, if you have designed and created something, if you have a business model, if you have collateral, everybody's got collateral. You know, your website is collateral, your sales pages, all those things. If you have any of those things, they can fall under copyright. So go through this vet your copyright section so you can start thinking about, okay, what do I need to have protected and would it fall under copyright? Now, again, the Copyright Office is not gonna vet you as closely as a trademark office or in the patent office, but you still want to have this information down. So this is pretty much going to be drag and drop into the application. So it's good to go through these questions because when you sit down with me or another attorney or a copyright filing person, paralegal, whatever, you want to have all this information ready for the conversation, right? Who's claiming it? You know, if it's a book, who created the text or the literary component? Who created the visual art, which could be graphs or pictures, all of that for a book. Same thing with your website, the digital portion of it. They're gonna want to know who created everything. Oh, you know what? Let me talk about copyright a little bit more. A little bit more. I should have paused. Something that comes up often with copyright is work for hire. So I had a young woman, amazing business model. I was so excited for her to get ready to launch. And she's like, I need this logo. Um, she wanted a trademark actually, and she wanted to launch, but she didn't have the necessary, pieces to launch it. And we could have gone through the intent to use, which means get out there with the protection of a trademark protection as an intent to use, and then circle back to the USPTO to give them the evidence that you're actually using it. That's the intent to use application, which I never, ever, ever, that's just not a strategy I like to employ because it takes longer and it's going to cost you more money. That's me. So we decided to go another route and get some copyright protection for her, at least initially, right? And when we got down to the wire, it turned out that she had hired someone to create the graphic. The Copyright Office is not going to give you the rights to somebody's graphic unless there is a copyright transfer statement. And if you are a creator, I don't care if you're a sculptor, singer-songwriter, digital artist, whatever, the Copyright Office is not going to grant rights to your work unless you sign off on it. Now, if you're a business owner and you purchased it from someone, make sure they transfer the rights to you, or you're going to waste your money filing and not get the protection you need. So that's something that, see, this is why this is going to be over an hour because this is already over an hour. I was trying to make it an hour. It's that way. So that's the only hiccup with copyright. That, not the only, but that's one of the major hiccups. But for the most part, it's fairly about information sourcing about the owner. Okay? Questions, comments, please write them down. I know by the time you get through the copyright questionnaire, you will have questions and comments. Reach out to me if you do. If you don't, go back through it again because you cannot go through this stuff and not have a question or a comment. Okay. Trademark. Okay, so the difference between a trademark and a copyright, or a trademark and a patent even, is that a copyright and a patent, it's the rights of the creator or the inventor, right? So a book, you created a book. a sculpture, you created a sculpture, a song. If it's a patent, you've created a process of doing something. You've created a device. So patent and copyright is about the creator being acknowledged for their creation and being incentivized to keep creating, right? Because I don't create stuff, but I have an eye to recognize creativity. And so that's why I love what I do. But back to the point. When it comes to trademark is different from a copyright and is different from a patent because the USPTO, the United States Patent and Trademark Office, is not carrying. So remember I talked about the logo that we were trying to get copyright protection for and ran into huge, almost insurmountable challenges. Now we got through. We got it through. I take care of my people. We got it through, but we came into insurmountable challenges because she had someone else do it. So when you look at the copyright questionnaire, you're going to see that it says work made for hire. If you have a yes to that question, then we need to talk. Okay, so make sure you're not in that sort of scary situation, wondering if your application is going to go through. So with trademark, they don't care. They don't care who created what. They just want to know, are you in commerce? That's all trademark is about. Are you in commerce? So you got to prove you're in commerce or about to be in commerce. That's your job. So take that same graphic that the artist created and walk over to the trademark office. They will not ask you ever who created that. They want to say, are you using this thing in business? So let me step back to the McDonald's Golden Arches. The USPTO will never ask McDonald's who came up with that sculpture. They don't care who came up with that sculpture or that piece of architecture. They don't care. They want to know do you put that on your fries? Is that on the packaging for your burgers? Right? So that's what you want to think about. So when you get to trademark, okay, don't be thinking about, is this something I created? Be thinking about, is this thing used in commerce? Is it a part of my brand? Right? So that's primarily the difference where you want to be thinking about. Now, if you are working with me, I don't want you to just say, oh, here's my trademark and be done. No, 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 ma'am. I need to know what your vision is. What's your company mission? I need to understand all of that. Why? What is your personal perception of your company? What are your weaknesses? I need to understand all that because this is not, I am not an online trademark filer. I'm trying to use my words with integrity without disparaging anyone else. When you sit down with me, I'm going to give you your full-on protection. I am going to fully represent you before the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I am authorized to do that, right? That means I didn't know who you are. I can't be in a conference with the examiner over an office action and be like, wait a second. Wait, what was your company vision? No, I need to be standing in your shoes and advocate on your behalf. I can only do that thoroughly if I understand what's your mission. What are your weaknesses? Where did this come from? Here's an example. I had a client that created a body butter, right? She created this body butter. Why? She had eczema, and none of the medications the doctors gave her worked. They just didn't work. This little girl, she's 9 years old. She started tinkering around in the kitchen with different oils, different butters, and she came up with this perfect thing. So she wants to put this product on the market because she's 9 years old and she knows how bad she was itching and scaly, and she wanted to help other kids that may be going through the same thing. That's the backstory. She's 9 years old. She created this thing. She's in a lot of pain. She's dealing with a lot of uncomfortableness. She's dealing with other students at school, other kids teasing her about it. All of that. I know her entire story. We get our file before the USPTO. The examiner says, I think that this trademark is not no, no, no. They said that this trademark is, oh, let me think. This trademark is, because there's a legal term, descriptive. It is merely descriptive. We don't like the name because the name is obvious, is merely descriptive. I think I can share this one because she's not 9 years old. I think she's 25 now. So the mark is Shea Sense, right? So the examiner's saying, you're saying this merely smells, Shea, like scents. It smells like Shea. I didn't have time in a conference to be like, let me call her. Does the thing smell like Shay? No, I had already smelled it, damn near tasted it. I need to be that intimately understanding this product. I need to understand how she sourced it, all of that. So on the spot, when I'm being questioned, right, I was able to talk about how she created it as 9 years old, how horrible she felt the scent of Shay was, so that she was able to change the scent. So the thing don't smell like Shay. You following me? I need to understand all those details and nuances and speak for this person. So when you get into this questionnaire and you see me asking you, what is your mission? I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to talk about that. I'm thinking of another client right now. She is a teacher, and she also is a coach for after school um and sports, right? I need to understand why she got into education. Why did she create this business? How was she, because the business had nothing to do with the fact that she had after school, that she was coaching an after school program. It had nothing to do with it, but I knew it. So when we got in conference with the examiner, I was able to say, listen, this person worked hard in the community after school. They started a business, all those things. I can fully advocate for them. I don't have time to get on the phone and say, hey, so when you came up with that trademark, what were you doing? I already knew what was going on in her life. You understand? Okay, so I need you to answer all the questions. And the other thing is, even if you're not going to work with me to take care of your intellectual property, be making sure that whoever you're working with is just as interested in all these details about you and your business. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to say you have to work with me. My point I'm trying to make is that all of this is important, right? And I know you're gonna have questions and comments for this. All right. Okay, so now we're at the checklist. Customize your checklist. So we already talked about wills. Here's a list of things that you need to have before you start with your drafting your will, or before you sit down with someone for them to draft it. Whew, this is a good time for me to pause while y'all take notes on that. And similar to the wills, I need you to look at this checklist for the trusts. Now you saw wills 101 and trust 101. That's because I did a full series on estate planning, and these checklists are coming from that series. Make a list of assets. Now, you're going to want this list no matter what you're working on. If you're working on insulating your assets, if you're working on business and tax strategy, or if you are working on estate planning. This list of assets is going to govern the direction of everything you do. And here are some examples of assets. Now, after you make a list of your assets, you need the supporting documents. So if you're just getting started your intellectual property, you may not have these. If you already have your intellectual property registered, I'm going straight to IP because y'all already know about real property with title deeds, policy documents, all of that. You know about that. But with IP, you want your certificates of registration, your licensing agreements, your certificates for your entity formation, your operating agreements, trade secret protocols, all of that. Then gather your documents that's going to support that you have intellectual property. List of your beneficiaries. And remember, if you're working with a trust, you can put yourself down as a beneficiary. Let's not get it twisted or confused. Make sure you're very specific to how the assets are to be distributed, when it's to be distributed. Again, this is if you are already a part of Business Boost, this is in your blueprint. And then refine your blueprint. Day 4. Okay, so this is coming from our Blue Business Boost Intensive. Day 1, 2, 3, and day 4, I always encourage you to refine it. So, day 1, you're casting your vision. You're looking at insulating your assets, you're looking at your business tax strategy, and you're looking at your estate plan. And you're deciding which of the three, if not all three, you want to tighten up. Once you tighten that up, you're going to go into day 2, which is your blueprint. So, that's the questionnaire. All those questions. That's the blueprint right there. Then you're going to customize your blueprint in day 3. That means after you've walked through all of that, you're going to decide what do you need to work on. You're going to know, you're going to feel it in your bones. Like, okay, I think I need to deal with asset insulation because I have a lot of intellectual property that needs to be taken care of. And I also think I need to look at estate planning because I have some business and personal assets I need to make sure it's insulated too, right? That's what you're going to do in day 3. When you get to day 4, you need to schedule a private one-on-one with me or another attorney that you can go over any questions and comments you have. Get all those questions answered. Okay. And then there's a daily planner, all the things. I'm going to move through this quickly. Weekly planner, because if you're working with me in Business Boost, you have to complete all this. Why? I'll stop sharing that. But the reason is that I'm guaranteeing you, I am guaranteeing that you're going to finish this year strong. In order for me to make that kind of very strong statement, I have to have all these little nuanced things in there. Now, it may feel like, okay, this is a lot of information. Just take the 4 days to walk through it. I promise you. Well, it's just 3 days. The fourth day, you need to be picking up the phone, texting me, somebody to get it going, right? But after that, you're going to have to follow the checklist. What do I need to get done this month? What do I need to get done on this day, this week, this month? You only have to commit to 20 to 45 minutes a day. You're going to sit with me. If you're signing up for the Business Boost, you're going to sit with me in an intake and we're going to walk through each section. From that information, I am going to then customize what your schedule needs to look like every day from now to the end of the year. 20 to 45 minutes every day. Little baby steps every day. You're going to be meeting with me one-on-one, private sessions with me, because I need to make sure we're working this blueprint. The blueprint will be customized for you. So if you say, okay, I'm going to work on my estate plan, we're going to go back to the blueprint, customize it just for you, and create a schedule of getting this stuff done. 20 to 45 minutes every day. You can do more. I wouldn't suggest you burn yourself out doing more than that, but I'm using 20 to 45 minutes just so your brain can say, oh, I could do that. We all got an extra 20 minutes. We all got an extra 20 minutes every day. So following that is how you're going to get it done. Okay. So we have made it to the end, right? We went all the way to day 4. Day 3, we customize blueprint. Then day 4, you meet with somebody. So Business Boost was created to support businesswomen planting New Year goals. And then again, we do it mid-year to fertilize, water, and sometimes weed our garden of dreams, right? Next steps, conclusion, and next steps would be, like I said, make an appointment, chat with me. This is customized legal care, personally curated for you. I know this was a lot of information. I said we cover it in an hour, and actually it's an hour and a half because some stuff I feel I need to explain. I'm getting a lot of questions and I'm making sure I'm answering all the questions as I go along. I got a little bit more questions than I expected. So here we are, hour and a half. It's okay. It's okay. So Dream Lawyers is an asset and wealth protection initiative. of the Wasemi Law Firm, and we provide general corporate counsel services at a fraction of what it costs to hire a full-time in-house counsel. Ah, so it's not about cutting corners. No, 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 no. It's about making wise fiscal decisions. So come, think about this business boost. I want you to end the year strong. You don't have to do this alone. We work as a team. We work as a collective. You will not be alone. Join Business Boost, Dream Lawyers. Okay. And I want to emphasize this boost is only for, women that are ready for next level strategies. Next level strategy. So that means when I'm telling you intuitive writing, you can't be like, oh, here she go with the woo-woo. No, you got to know in your heart, in the seat of your soul, that these next level strategies are good for you. It's for women that value asset protection. It's for women that are ready to release fear and leverage the same cheat codes used by men. And I'm saying the same cheat codes used by men because, listen, I was trained by the best of them. I call them the dinosaurs of the industry, the legal industry. So when I say I got the cheat codes, I got the cheat codes that men use. And if you're not ready to leverage them, if you're not ready for next level strategy, if you need a run-of-the-mill attorney that's just going to do whatever the usual or, send you to an online filer, and I'm not even going to talk about the online filing system because if I do that, we're going to be here longer because when I start talking about the fraud that's been going on. And I've been a part of the fraud task force, not a part of the fraud, but a part of the fight against it, not the fight against it, the um revealing of it. I'll put it that way. Right? So let's not get into that. But I'm not your run-of-the-mill attorney. When I say intuitive writing, where you get that at from another attorney? Nowhere. When I say I'm going to hold your hand and walk with you and guarantee you that you're going to finish this year strong, just follow my process 20 to 40 minutes a day. When I'm telling you that I'm going to give you the cheat codes, and we use them better than men anyway. We use them better than men anyway, the cheat codes, right? So you got to be ready for that. If you're the type that's wanting to work hard instead of like leaning into these cutting edge, unique strategies that are so unique to us as women, if you're not wanting to do something like that and you want to get out there and work hard and find your way, that's fine. It just means that we're not for you. And there's somebody for everybody, but I need you to not worry about it. Don't feel bad. Go find your somebody. But that's what Dream Lords is for, women that are ready to do exactly that. And so with that in mind, if you want to work with me, the basic requirement is a commitment to personal development. Commitment to personal development. I gotta know, and you gotta know that we are all here expanding. Your business is not gonna expand with a strong foundation if the heart of your business, is not expanding. So personal development is big. Now, of course, you gotta follow our protocols. Do a formal assessment, do a complete audit in different documents like NDAs, MOUs, and all that, of course, but it goes back to personal development. We also ask that you take, something like a crash course, get in on like FamFave webinar series and learn about patents, trademarks, family trust, private foundations, and all of that. You gotta have taken the time to at least want to understand and know that kind of thing, right? But I want to work with you. If you stuck with me this far, I know you're the type of woman that, we could really do a lot of great things in the world together. Because when you come work with me, you're going to get a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of stuff for your business. I'm talking about corporate counsel, business advising, brand protection from a fully established legal team. I want to join your team. You're going to get a strategic partner that you can call on every step of the way. You are going to get the whole Dream Lawyers catalog, right? So start today. Get your mini boost today. You can go to dreamlawyers.com. That's www.dream-lawyers.com. Or you can text me. I'm in 646-859-3915. Okay? And there you have it. There is your mini boost. I hope you all have enjoyed it. We went over a little bit, but it's fun stuff. It's fun stuff. I would love you to come work with me. Let's get this boost on. Let's end this year right. Let's end this year good. Um, I'm only taking the only taking a few more women. I'm trying to think who's already signed up. I'm only taking a few more women. I will not be um giving the full 90 day, what we're calling the next 90, because we're already into the 90 days, but you can still benefit by signing up for a mini boost. Okay, 646-859-3915. Text I'm in or go to dream-lawyers.com. All right, let me check. Are there any other questions? What happened with the girl with the well, no, we cleared that up with the body cream. Yeah, we cleared that up. I don't it took a while. It took a while, but I got my own little trade secrets over here. We do a lot of fun stuff. Just as much as you love what you do in your business, I love what I do in my business too. So we got that done. No client is left standing alone. I go the full journey with you. That's why when you look at that questionnaire, it feels like, oh my goodness, another question. She wants to know the core values. Oh goodness. What does that have to do with asset insulation? Oh my, all I wanted was a trademark, and here she asking me, what is the perception that I want the world to have of my business? Just do it. Just do it. Because if we get that all done, I won't have to come back to ask you in the process of getting something done for you, I will already know. So we will be in lockstep with one another, right? So come get this mini boost, 646-859-3915. I will see you all in the next one. I think all the other questions I've already answered like throughout the presentation. Yep, 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 yep. All right, I will see you in the next one. Bye.